If I haven't said this enough, I find Pokemon to be friggin' awesome! I love this game series. In fact, I love it so much, I'm doing a top 49 today regarding the legendaries. That's right, 49 legends, including Keldeo, Meloetta, and Genesect, and Rotom. Just a few things before we begin. 1. This is my list. If you want to see your favorites, post a comment or leave a video response. Number 2. These are my favorite legendaries from worst to best. If you want the best, though, for tier battles and shit, go to Smogon. 3. I'm delving into all Pokemon media, including the manga. And lastly, this will take a while, so I ask this. Please be patient on this. There will be 7 parts to this to save length, unless you want to be the guy who uploaded Full's 3-hour top 100 list. So with that said, let's begin. Let's start off the list with a little discussion. With the topic of time Pokemon before the 4th generation came out, for the most part, let's be honest, what Pokemon would you think of? Answer would probably be, oh yeah, Celebi. In Generation 4, however, we got the God of Time, I don't care if he isn't a god, whatever, Dialga, based off the Shinto legend of Inazami and Izanagi. To this day, Dialga is the only Dragon Steel type Pokemon in the games. Despite that, his design is also very unique. His signature move, Roar of Time, is pretty sweet, though Arceus couldn't learn it. Cheap bitch! In the manga, his role was the same as in the game, so I'm not going to reveal that many spoilers to prevent people who haven't played it. But, he was a stage Pokemon in Brawl, he had a huge role in the Darkrai movie, and he has awesome stats, his highest being Special Attack. His move pool is very good as well, learning moves from types such as Normal, Rock, Ground, Electric, Ghost, Fire, and many more. But if he's so awesome, why is he so low? Because I find Celebi to be so much cooler than him. Hell, she had her own movie as opposed to Dialga, which was for the most part about Darkrai.
Hey, fuck you, asshole!
But nonetheless, he's still an awesome god. Being one of the only few Pokemon that has had its status disputed, Phione makes its way to number 48 on this list. Its stats are weak, its look sucks, but why do I put it above Dialga? Because this Pokemon is hilarious! Being born from a Manaphy and a Ditto, Phione possesses the ability to change into a liquid state like Vaporeon, which leads to some funny antics in the anime. Even though she had only 1 episode. Pleasant's so cute. Well, some say Manaphy is cuter, I find Phione to be cuter. Phione is based off of Sea Angels, or to be more specific, Cleone, and the name is a combo of Manaphy and Cleone, so. Regarding its status as a legendary, I'd say it's a legendary mainly because Manaphy is used to breed it, and Manaphy is a legendary. So there, I said it. It may be weak, but I still love it.
Jesus would be proud.
Next up on the list, we have my least favorite Golem, Regirock. Look, I don't hate him, but it's not as good as the other Golems on the list. But that doesn't mean he sucks. Hell no, Regirock is awesome! With someone like Regirock, you'd think its highest stat would be one of the special stats, right? Well, no. Its highest stat is defense, being over 200 base! It makes it one of the highest defenses in the Pokemon series. Its other stats are also not too shabby. Its design is also one of my favorites, and Brandon's Regirock in the anime was beastly, especially with kicking Paul's ass. Although it possesses no heart or brain, it certainly is more smarter than that smug friggin' prick. What would happen if Plasma Kirby and Awesome Factors were merged into one? You get number 46 on our list, Rotom. What makes me like Rotom, you may ask? His design is very funny. Just look at him. He definitely looks like Plasma Kirby in the Pokemon world. His stats are okay, total being 520, and his stats are mainly for special and regular defense. He's also one of the only few Pokemon, including legendaries, to have different forms, the most being 6, though those were introduced in Platinum. I'm not going to talk about those forms because I never really use them anyway. Being Plasma, Rotom has the powers to go into electrical appliances and even take their form. The best example of this is Get Your Rotom Running, where we see all his different forms in action. Oh, and here's the nifty little thing. Unlike other legendaries, Rotom has emotions. He is a prankster, and that's another reason I like the anime version. He had fun messing around with Ash and the gang, and hell, even in the manga messed around with Diamond and Pearl, or whatever you want to call their names. But the most interesting thing about him, I find, is that his In his past, long ago, Team Plasma scientist Sharon, or however you pronounce it, was playing with his toy robot when Rotom suddenly appeared out of it. After that, he named it Rotom. Hell, he even designed the other forms for Rotom to go into. Damn, that's impressive. All I can say is haters of Gen 4, come on, give Rotom a chance. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go mail Logan one. I think Fuffle would love to have this guy. What's 5 times 9 again? Oh, thank you, Uxie. At number 45, we have the Being of Wisdom, Uxie. Though his typing sucks, his ability is very unique. If he opens his eyes, the person's memories are erased. Hey, Uxie from Telly's show, why didn't you do that in the movie? His stats are also very good, the highest being both of his defenses. True, it doesn't have a role in the movies, but the role in Platinum in the anime takes the cake. It was responsible for helping and foiling Cyrus's plot, but the reason it's my least favorite of the Pixie Trio is because he's just a being of wisdom. Mesprit and Azelf I find to be better than Uxie for these reasons. Sorry dude, but you are still good enough to be better than the previous 4 entries. Just not high enough to be past part 1. Oh god, another trio Pokemon? Hell yeah! At number 44, we have the King of the Kami Trio, Landorus. Being one of the only few ground-flying types, Landorus is very unique. He can learn moves from Rock, Ground, Psychic, Dark, Fighting, Dragon, and Normal, and these are moves he can learn by leveling up. His stats in Asterian form are totaled up to 600, with his highest being Attack and Special Attack, making him good for sweepers. As for his role in the anime, he is one of the only few Pokemon to have a mini-arc dedicated to him, excluding Meloetta. During the fight with Tornadus and Thundurus, Landorus came down and stopped the fighting, which was awesome. There isn't much to say about his origins except for being based off Inari, one of the Kami members. But overall, he is an awesome genie, but they're Thundurus, so let's just go to the last entry for this part. Ah, damn it, what is up with these trail Pokemon being back-to-back? Well, what's wrong with a 3-way? In all seriousness, being the mascot of Pokemon Black, Reshiram is one awesome Pokemon. Fun fact, before this game came out, I thought its design was a ripoff of Palkia. Thank God that was false. Being one of the only Dragon Fire Pokemon as of now, Reshiram is a being who believes in truth. Hey, I think Wonder Woman would love to have this Pokemon on her side. I'll talk about the other members of the Trinity later. While I only got Pokemon White, I got Reshiram later on thanks to a Wi-Fi event, and it was friggin' awesome! Its stats reach a total of 680, with its highest being Special Attack, reaching a total of 438. Hell, its base stat is almost the strongest out of all the fire types. Not kidding. And its signature move, Fusion Flare, and/or Blue Flare, is friggin' beastly. Being based off of the symbol Yang in Chinese mythology, with similarities to Romulus and Ramux, Reshiram shows that mythological references are uber awesome. By the power of Zeus, I'll see you in part 2 for the next couple entries. Starting off part 2, we have the very first Pokemon in the Unova Dex. With that said, Victini sparks his way into the number 42 spot. Being Junichi Matsuda's favorite Unova Pokemon, Victini is a unique Pokemon with its typing being Psychic and Fire. It is one of the most original typings. Its stats are... they're meh, to say the least. They're all based at 100 apiece, with its total being at 600. It's still awesome, but it doesn't have a definitive stats, so it's an okay Pokemon. Its role in the anime, though, says it, or in this case, the movie, but whatever. Being one of the main characters in the film, it charges up some of Ash's Pokemon to ridiculous feats, such as his Scraggy and Pikachu. It reminds me of those players who use legendaries and Wi-Fi just because they were raising a Pokemon. She's also really cute in both versions. Yeah, I think Victini's cute. What about it? But the anime is so much superior to the games, she has a personality. But there is a nifty thing to it. The V on its head makes it look like a boomerang, and I'm sure the shiny coordinator knows about that. So overall, it's a cute little fox. What happens if the Garden of Eden existed in the Pokemon world? You get number 41 on the list, Shaman. Being one of the only few grass-flying type Pokemon, Shaman shows off how unique she is, and we haven't really even begun this part yet. Its stats are very good, with its highest being Speed. While it has the same stat total as Victini, its stat arrangement is much better, making it more useful. Sure, Shaman can't learn a lot of other moves except for Poison, Flying, Grass, Fire, and Psychic, but when it has stat moves like Leaf Storm or Seed Flare, it doesn't matter. You know, you Logan says Togekiss is a good hugger, but I think this one is a good hugger as well. Aww. Oh god, it's happening again. Next entry! Being the god of space, Palkia teleports herself into the number 40 entry on the list. Being a water dragon, it has really good stats, with its total reaching 680. Finally, a Pokemon that hasn't have 600, and it really shows, since most of its moves are not only special, but are also stab moves. Bitchin'! Its signature move, Spatial Rend, is also really good, though, like Dialga, Arceus can learn it, cheap son of a bitch. It's even referred to as a male in the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. It's also really strong, considering it's in the highest IQ group of the same series. My god, this Pokemon is so good. I feel so guilty for putting him this low. Oh well, Palkia is still a really good Pokemon for these reasons. And again, I haven't watched the Darkrai movie yet, so I can't really cover their entries. So yeah. Warning, the following entry contains My Little Pony Friendship magic references. If you can't handle those references, feel free to hit the back button too slow. Despite what I said in the disclaimer, Keldeo was freaking sweet. Being the fourth member of the Musketeer trio, Keldeo displays this talent with class. Being a water fighting type, Keldeo once again proves how badass she is by her original typing. Too bad her stat isn't the strongest compared to the other members, but her stat total is 580 and her strongest is special attack. Yep, that type again. But even though her stats aren't good, she has a signature move with the rest of the trio being Sacred Sword and stab moving up. That is friggin' awesome! And although she doesn't have an appearance in the movie or anime world yet, I have a feeling she will kick ass in the movie when it comes out. Hell, she can walk on water like Frog Jesus! But that could be because she's based in the Kelpie, a supernatural water horse. As for her behavior, she tends to run around the whole world, and from what you've seen of that, it seems she's a bit cocky, kinda like Bingo! So we're all this Pokemon friend of magic. Sweet lord, this guy. Being Zephos in Pokemon form, Tornadus can travel at 200 miles an hour and can even destroy houses. His stats total 580 with his highest being speed. He only has 5 stab moves on him, but can also learn moves from Water, Flying, Fighting, Dark, Psychic, Normal, and Ghost. And that's only from leveling up. In terms of TMs and HMs, he can also learn moves from Poison, Rock, Fire, and Grass. So that's a pretty good move. His role in the anime was small, only fighting with Thunder for 2 episodes. Special, but it could be worse. He's based off the Kami Fuji, the Kami of Wind, and originally, according to Ken Sugimori, he was originally intended to be red, which makes sense considering his bird form has those titties! Anyway, so with good stats, an interesting design, and a good move pool, Tornadus is one awesome Pokemon. At number 37, we have the Colossusmon Regigigas. Being the leader of the legendary golems and being able to drag the continents with ropes, Regigigas is very strong, which is fitting, because the highest attack of it is attack. Its base stat is 670. Not that bad, but it could be a little better. Its role in the anime wasn't that good though, only being in 1 episode and being controlled by Henry J, that stupid bitch. But in the manga, it's pretty sweet, since hell, one of the main characters has Regigigas, and in both Pokemon Adventures and Diamond and Pearl Adventures, is Spy the Hero. I also like its designs, it makes it look like a mouse. Too bad its ability sucks. I'm pretty sure everyone knows about Slow Star, only being usable after 5 turns, and then finally gets going, but it's a forgivable flaw. He is based off the Hebrew golems, but even has some origins to the Mesozoic era. So overall, with all these factors to it, Regigigas is an awesome golem. To close out part 3, we have a Pokemon with an iron will. At number 36, we have Cobalion. What can I say about this guy? His stats are good, total being 580, which makes sense, with defense being the highest, making it the strongest defense out of all the fighting Pokemon, and that's not surprising, given their attack is usually their highest stats for the type. While it has the same signature move as Keldeo and his family, it is still very unique since there's only 4 of them. Now before you ask, no, the roles in the manga and the anime are small, especially in the anime world since the 15th out. Despite the look on its face, it has a calm nature to him and a heart of steel. Kinda like Superman. Oh man. I'd make a list for the superheroes that would fit with legendaries and other Pokemon. Huh, I wonder who Batman's Pokemon could be. Well, we might see that in the next part. To start off part 3, we're going to have a short entry here with the being of willpower, Azel. Okay, as much as I would repeat my lines from the Uxie segment, I will try to say my bit on it without repetition. Its stats are okay, with its total being the same as Mesprit and Uxie's, but these stats go to the attacks, both attack and special attack. So, yeah. In its birth state, it was responsible for giving us the power of willpower, similar to how Uxie's the being of wisdom and Mesprit's the being of emotion. More on that in a bit. Which is pretty neat. But aside from that, it's pretty basic, which is why the segment is so short. So, yeah. A thought occurred to me. I was talking about superheroes that would be good with Pokemon, but what about One Piece? Well, I asked this question and I got this. What would happen if Jinbei had a Pokemon? Oh, you get Kyogre! This Pokemon is friggin' awesome! Being the god of water, and I don't care if it's gods, who cares? It was responsible for creating the oceans because of its rivalry with Groudon. And it's even mentioned in all forms of media, and each has an importance to him. Each going into parts in the anime, and even parts or chapters in the manga. It is also one of the only few Pokemons to have its marking appear in the spin-off games, such as in Conquest for One of the Kingdoms, and Wes's outfit from Colosseum. Its stats aren't too shabby either, total being 670 with its highest being special attack. That makes it one of the strongest water types in both special attack and special defense. It also used to have a signature move, Sure Cold, but in Gen 4 and 5 it was no longer unique. But it still is one of the only few non-ice types to have this move. Man, no wonder Team Aqua wants it so much. Although it's a water monotype, it doesn't matter since it is so beastly. What can I say except if you want a Pokemon to help you get through a drought, get one of these! Alright, at number 33, representing the Iron Age, we have the Steel Golem, Registeel. Being one of the legendary golems of Hoenn, Registeel specializes in both defense and special defense as its highest stats. Though the stat total is the same as Regi-Ice and Regi-Rock, it is the most balanced of the three, and the defense makes him the strongest of the steel types, for defense anyway. Its steel is also so strong, it is the strongest metal on the planet, making its metal impossible to scratch. Now, an interesting bit of info. Registeel is one of the only Pokemon to have a spray change in international releases. In the original versions of Generation 4, Registeel sprites looked like a Hitler hail, but in Europe, it was changed. And then it was changed in Platinum. It's funny how that goes, doesn't it? Registeel also has my second favorite design out of the Golems. It looks pretty cool in this shot, and the fact that it is owned by Brandon and Emerald and the anime also makes it very powerful. One more thing. Its role in the anime during the Frontier arc was pretty funny. It beat out a freaking Torkoal. A Torkoal. That is freaking sweet. So let's move on to the next entry. Being the protector of dreams, we have Kirby's guardian angel at number 32, Cresselia. Being the fourth psychic legendary from Sinnoh, Cresselia has many interesting traits to her, and yes, I'll be calling Cresselia her. What about it? Because Cresselia is a guardian of dreams, she has the power to dispel nightmares and create peaceful dreams. Hell, she can even cure psychological scars if the person looks at her. Dr. Phil, you have nothing on Cresselia! Ugh! Sweet. Her stats total up to 600, her highest being special defense, which is 130 base. Not too shabby, but she only has one resistant, ground. Although she has only 3 weaknesses, so it's not horrible. She's also a background character in the Brawl game, especially in Spirit Pillar. She can create crescent blades to not only hurt the opponents, but yourself. Cresselia is also one of the only few Pokemon used by Palmer in the rematch at the Battle Tower. What are the other ones? Play the rematch! Cresselia is also one of the 6 legendary Pokemon to have a definitive gender. Her role in the anime may be smaller than Darkrai, but I still love Cresselia as a legendary for these reasons. Okay, from that cry, I want to say something before we begin. I will be keeping my rage about a certain Heatran out of this video so that this is a fair and unbiased entry. Okay, with that said, at number 31, we have the Magma Pokemon, Heatran. Being one of the only Fire Steel Pokemon that exists, Heatran is very unique, especially with the design of him. Hell, he is so awesome. He is resistant to 10 of the 17 types. That is friggin' beast! As for his stats, same stat total as Cresselia, but his highest stat this time is special attack, which makes sense, since in this generation, and 4th gen, fire attacks are special moves. Being bored from ashes in a volcano, you'd expect him to be an angry Pokemon. You'd be right, but that is because he wants to protect his prized possession, the Magma Stone. In the anime, he is shown not only in the Jewel of Life movie, but the Guardian Sign special, which also displays another interesting ability. There's that Heatran can climb on walls like Ryu. It is also the last legendary Pokemon in 4 generations to appear in a movie before Generation 5 was released. Heatran is also the only Pokemon that can learn the move Magma Storm, which you can consider as its signature move. As for its origins, it is assumed that Heatran is based off of volcanic remains and a turtle. So with all that, Heatran is one hot Pokemon. At number 30, we have the being that destroyed the Tin Tower by lightning, Raikou. Oh, hell yeah, this guy is very shocking to say the least.
Fuck you!
Hey, I'm the one making the bad puns, so yeah. Appearing in 2 anime specials in the 13th movie, Raikou is one of the fan-favorite Pokemon in Gen 2. His stats are very interesting as well, his total being 580, get used to that number, and the highest being a tie between speed and special attack. He's also one of the only few in the trio Pokemon to not have a weakness with the other members of the dogs. Very interesting. One other thing, take a look at his gold and silver sprite. The mane is a different color. The coloring is off and he has no whiskers. I don't know why this was changed, but it makes about as much sense as changing Jinx's color in the international release for Crystal. To close, I may not like Raikou as much as Suicune or Entei, but he's still a really good Pokemon. Now onto a Pokemon that's going to cause some controversy. At number 29, we have the creator of all Pokemon, Arceus. This god is the heavenly side of Asa. His stats does make sense, totaling 720, making it the highest stat of all Pokemon, which is understandable given his power. His highest stats of all is all of them. Not kidding. Now someone complain, he's cheap and too difficult. And to that I say, stop whining about it. Game Freak knows this Pokemon is cheap, and that's why they made it near impossible to use. Think about it. He's banned in the Battle Frontier and the Battle Tower. He's banned in tournaments. His items are hard to get without hacking. So as such, he is hard to find anyway. So to the people complaining, these people who use Arceus to hack their games are going to GameStop. And even so, it's very rare to see someone with an Arceus in their party for these reasons, but regardless of this, he is still an awesome Pokemon. Even his signature move, Judgment, he can also use moves from Giratina, Palkia, and Dialga anyway. It is very cool. So overall, he may be cheap, but he's a cheap type that I like. Alright, we're almost halfway through, so I'll see you in part 4 for the remainder. To start off part 4, we have the extraterrestrial Pokemon, Kyurem. Being the final member of the Tau Trio, Kyurem finds a way to slide his way into the list. An Ice Dragon? Hell yeah! I cannot believe it's been this long to finally get an Ice Dragon. In your face, Charizard! Anyway, on to stats. The stat total for regular Kyurem is 660, with attack and special attack showing the highest. Hell, it's so strong, it's one of the strongest ice types in Pokemon history thus far. Its role in the anime, though, is small. Despite being in the new movie and in the manga, they aren't at that point yet. However, as much as I would like to talk about Black and White Kyurem, I haven't fought nor used them yet, so I have no opinion on them. But I've played Black and White too. You know how that works. Anyway, in terms of origins, while Reshiram and Zekrom represent Yin and Yang, Kyurem represents Uji, if I misspelled that, the absence of Yin and Yang. As for its past, it is one of the only Pokemon to eat humans, as reported by citizens of Lacunosa Town. Damn. In closing, Kyurem may be awesome, but he's not my favorite alien Pokemon. What is? Well, we'll see later on.
For Illidan's beard, I call upon my guardian, Zapdos!
Sorry. What to say about Zapdos? Well, would you believe me if I said the original legendary for him was Selectabuzz? No joke. Being based off the legendary Thunderbird, I love it details, Zapdos' design fits the Thunderbird perfectly. As for its stats, Zapdos' stat total is 580. That's the same as Cobalion and Keldeo's stat total. Hell, Raikou has the same stat total, but the main part of her stats go to special attack. Funny how that works, doesn't it? Considering Gen 4. In terms of the anime, she had a couple appearances in it, such as in The Power of One and in an episode of the Johto anime. As for the manga, not only does Blue possess it in the manga for Gold and Silver, but in the first generation manga, Lieutenant Surge possessed it, since at the time he was a member of Team Rocket. Did I mention all of the manga? One last thing. In the first generation, Zapdos was the only dual-type electric Pokemon around before Steel was introduced in the second gen. So with all that, Zapdos is one awesome Thunderbird. I smell controversy! At number 26, we have the older brother of the Eon duo, Latios. Being a combination of a jet plane and a dragon, his design I find to be very original. Plus, during Gen 3, Latios and Latias were the first ever Pokemon to have set genders. Now, before I talk about the Latios and Pokemon Heroes, let's get the stats out of the way. Stat total for Latios is 600, with the highest being special attack. In fact, Latios and Latias have the record for the highest speed stat out of all dragon types. With the look on its face, Latios has a protective nature in regards to his sister Latias, and dislikes fighting in general, which would explain why he runs across Hoenn in Generation 3, and in Soul Silver if you get the Latias event. Now we can talk about the Pokemon Hero version. In the movie, Latios was not only protective of his sister, but also the town of Altomare. And for some reason, it was the only way that he created a Soul Dew, despite the fact it's made out of both of them. Sorry. Never mind. After Oakley and Annie sent a tsunami towards the city, and what's funny is that this proceeded a year before the Amnesia incident, Latios decides to save everyone, including his sister, by sacrificing himself and turning into the new Soul Dew, like what happened with his father. As of now, Latios is one of the only few to have died and has never been resurrected. Latios, you may not be higher, but even as a Soul Dew, you are still a hero. At number 25 is not only the mascot for Silver and Soul Silver, but the Guardian of the Seas, Lugia. There's a lot of titles to that, isn't there? Now, I could talk about Lugia for a while, but let's get to the main point. Yeah, I wish I could say that about one of the later entries anyway. In terms of stats, Lugia's stat total is 680, with its highest being special defense. In fact, it is tied with Ho-Oh for the highest special defense of all flying types. While Lugia doesn't do much in the manga, his role in the anime was awesome. He was the main character in The Power of One. Yeah, I call him the main character. Ash didn't do much. It even had a two-parter in the Johto saga. See, people? I was gonna mention it. Why do you people think that I wasn't gonna mention this? I said never mind. It involved Team Rocket kidnapping a baby Lugia, ironically named Silver. I found that to be good. Lugia is also the only non-dragon Pokemon to learn Dragon Rush. Now here's something interesting I found about one of its Pokedex entries. In Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, and Black and White, it says this: it sleeps in a deep-sea trench. If it flaps its wings, it is said to cause a 40-day storm. Biblical reference, anyone? Fun fact, one more actually. Before the release of the second generation games, Lugia was referred to as Pokemon X. Starting off part 5, we have the Guardian of Wishes and the cutest Pokemon from Gen 3, Jirachi. Oh, and by the way, just because I say Jirachi is cute, doesn't mean I want to do this to her, okay? Being the lightest steel type as of now, Jirachi's design fits its power. Every 1,000 years, Jirachi shows up for 1 week and grants any wish, such as in the manga and in Jirachi Wishmaker, which I will cover first before we discuss stats. In the manga for Pokemon Adventure, she plays an important role in the Emerald Arc, awakening during the opening ceremony of the Battle Frontier and was kidnapped by the Guile hideout, or Team Aqua, or Mango in this case, or Archie, who cares. At the end of the arc, she opens her third eye to Emerald and frees the Pokedex holders from being petrified. It happened in a previous arc. I don't want to explain it here. Yeah, it's confusing. But of course, it also awakened a giant Kyogre. As for the movie, Jirachi Wishmaker, she was one of the main characters alongside Ash in the game, and was used by the villain Butler. To summon a fake Groudon, since Butler used to be a member of Team Magma. Later on after this, Butler decides that he wants to save Jirachi, but gets observed by Groudon. Her role in the both adaptations was really good. But would you believe me if I said this was Tomiko Suzuki, Japanese voice actress for Jirachi's last role, dying on the day of the Tanabata, which was what Jirachi was based off of. Let's move on to stats. Jirachi's stat total is 600, and all of Jirachi's stats are 100 equal. Not too bad. Well, all I can say is, terrible joke alert! Jirachi really makes you wish upon a star. Still, I feel really bad about what happened to Tomiko. Let's go on to number 20. And number 20 is the savior of the weather trio, Rayquaza. Being the mascot of Pokemon Emerald, Rayquaza is a dragon that is serious about what he does, living in the ozone layer and his role being to stop the battle between Groudon and Kyogre, i.e. having the ability Airlock, which essentially stops all weather conditions, and he was able to destroy a comet in the first Mystery Dungeon game that was threatening the world. Rayquaza also holds the record for being the tallest legendary Pokemon. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Oh, and by the way, it's pronounced Rayquaza, not Rayquaza. I blame that on the stupid PC game. Anyway, Rayquaza's origin is based off the Hebrew legend Ziz, and 5 bucks is a misspelled Hebrew. Whatever. Now onto the stats. Rayquaza's stat total is 680, with its highest being attack and special attack. Not too bad. But you know what I find sad? In Pokemon Conquest, at the end of the game, Nobunaga, a white guy, owns a shiny Rayquaza, aka what he calls Black Rayquaza, and uses him for his own game. So overall, Rayquaza is one badass dragon. Woo! Finally, we can talk about the last of the Kami trio, Thundurus, aka my favorite Kami member. Yeah, I was the one that got Pokemon White version, so yeah, that's where I got him. I eventually got Tornadus later. Anyway, being a legendary with the typing, thunder, and flying, I love Thundurus in many ways, from its typing to its design, but let's start with the stats. Thundurus' stat total is the same as his brother's, but the highest stat for him is special attack, which works since he does have 4 stat moves by leveling up, and the moves he can learn through leveling or TMs for the most part are special moves. Hell, his Therian form possesses the highest special attack of all electric types. That is friggin' sweet! It doesn't do much in the anime or manga though, but he can be attained in the same way as Cresselia / Mesper, but he's still awesome! He's also a legendary that has an alternate form to him that I love out of the other members of the Kami trio. Yeah, sorry Tornadus, but those titties don't help. And I don't even know what the hell friggin' Landorus is about. So overall, he has 1 Pokemon on Cloud 9.
I am vengeance. I am the knight. I am.
Oh yeah, I said it. I put Darkrai above Giratina and Cresselia. Come at me, bro. Okay, Darkrai is one Pokemon that I find to be more interesting than most of the Sinnoh legends. His role in the movie I would describe, but I never saw it. I want to explain something though. Ever since Destiny Deoxys, I never saw any of the recent movies. Even with the internet, they didn't interest me. But then my girlfriend recommended to me The Mystery of Mew, and while I was at a college program, I watched it on the bus ride there, and I loved it. Thank you, Susan. Lucario fan. She showed me that I shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and I will eventually see this movie, but I am a little busy to do so right now. So let's keep going. In battle, Darkrai is one of the only Pokemon to have the ability of Bad Dreams, which inflicts damage to sleeping Pokemon. Yeah, so to those who think sleep is a useless status attack, Darkrai has you beat. His stats total up to 600 also, his highest being special attack. Not bad for a dark type. Hell, its speed makes it the fastest first type next to Weavile. But the thing I found that clinched it was his role in Mystery Dungeon 2. He was the main villain orchestrating the events from the main game and even prevented you from evolving. Hell, he was one of the only villains who almost succeeded in turning the hero evil, but he was just a dream. But the battle against him was cheap! Overall, Darkrai is one badass Pokemon, and Batman would benefit from him a lot because of this. They finally completed the Trinity. Number 17, please. At number 17 is a pro-choicer's worst nightmare, Mew. What is there to say about her? Being one of the main stars of the 8th and the first movie, Mew is one interesting Pokemon. If you guys remember Logan's Top 100 list, and where he mentions Mew, 2 weeks before production for Gen 1 ended, it was created. Mew was a Pokemon never discovered until 2003, when the glitch was discovered involving getting Mew by someone who has less of a life than me. Being the ancestor of all Pokemon, before Arceus, Mew can learn every single move, including HMs, TMs, and move tutors, and even some Sig moves. Being based off of an embryo, Mew stats are 100 each, with it totaling up to 600. Yep, that number again. And I know I bitched about it during the Victini segment, but with Mew it works since, well, it's a balanced Pokemon. Sure, its typing isn't unique, i.e. being a mono-psychic. It has little to any personality in all media. Mew's retarded. Mew is still very cute, and you better believe me, when the event came out in North America for our 10th anniversary, I got it that first chance I got. Mew, you are awesome. Enough said. $5 says I'm gonna get some pro-choicers bitching to me in the comments. Oh well. In the Rise of the Phoenix, we have number 16, Moltres. How to describe this bird? Hey, Patrick, can you help me with this? Thank you. Being the fire of the legendary bird, Moltres has the same stat total as its siblings. Makes sense. In terms of the anime and manga, she doesn't do anything, but it's worth noting that in the manga for Generation 1 manga, Blaine had her under his possession. I cannot say anything really much about Moltres, but the reason I put Moltres above Zapdos is because of its typing. I love fire types! She is one hot bird to say the least. Shut up. So overall, I can't say much about Moltres, except kind of copy-paste over what I said about Zapdos, but one difference. It's fire! 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 To close out part 5, we have the grass member of the Musketeer Trio, Virizion, the only Pokemon named after a phone company. Though in all seriousness, I do like her design. She's also one of the only 2 grass fighting Pokemon thus far. That's pretty unique. In terms of stats, though, it has the same stat total as Cobalion and Keldeo, but Virizion's highest stat is Special Defense, which can reach a maximum of 392, the highest special defense of all grass and fighting type Pokemon. Yet what's funny is that despite having a low attack stack, she has 6 stab moves, at least, by leveling up. Though to be fair, these moves have the same typing as Virizion, but still. In terms of her move pool, aside from her 2 types, Virizion can learn moves from Normal, Psychic, Poison, Dark, Fire, Flying, Rock, and Bug. In terms of origin, Virizion is based off of the member of the Musketeer Trio, Akamis, or Aramis, sorry. And its design looks like an antelope or a female deer. So overall, although she doesn't have a role in the anime, if you're ever in a forest trying to get reception, get Virizion today. See you for part 6. To start off part 6, we have the mascot for Pokemon White, Zekrom. Being one of the only Dragon Electric type Pokemon so far, Zekrom is not to be messed with. This Pokemon has a generator on the back of its tail, but unlike Reshiram, it can generate several thunderstorms in one area. Damn! That's more powerful than Raikou! As opposed to Reshiram, who believes in truth, Zekrom believes in ideals, hence why they were fighting with each other thousands of years ago. Though its role in the anime is small, including the manga, he has more of a role in the spin-off games than Reshiram, such as being the final boss in Pokemon Conquest, or so you think, and being possessed by the main villain. It gives it more of the role than a stupid Wi-Fi event. In battle, Zekrom's stat total reaches 680, with its highest being attack, which can reach a maximum of 438. That's so strong it is one of the highest attack stats of all electric Pokemon, and is tied with Dialga and Palkia for the highest defense of all dragon types. Zekrom has at least 8 stat moves while leveling up, and it can learn moves from Electric, Dragon, Rock, Psychic, Dark, Normal, Poison, Water, Ghost, Fighting, Flying, and Steel. Damn impressive! Hell, Zekrom is resistant to 6 of the 17 types and only has 3 weaknesses. Now, in terms of origin, Zekrom is based around the yin symbol for Chinese mythology. It stands for darkness. So overall, with good stats, awesome design, and an awesome move pool, Zekrom is a good Pokemon I'd recommend. At number 13, we have the mother of a legendary Pokemon disputed, Manaphy. Oh hey Shiny Co, what's up?
Only number 13?
Come on Shiny, you know it's my list.
But he's so cute!
I know that, that's why it's this high on the list. How'd you get into my video again?
Big Mac gave me the password.
Oh, well, you wanna stay and watch the rest of the century?
Thanks, but no thanks. I have a contest to take care of. Wish me luck!
Good luck. Getting back on topic, Manaphy is one of the cutest Pokemon I've ever seen. Being based off Sea Angel, similar to Manaphy, sibling, or offspring, Phione. But to be more specific, this one was based off transparent ocean mollusks. Manaphy is the lightest water Pokemon thus far, excluding Phione. Thus, its typing is Mono Water, the most overused typing in the games. Manaphy is still really good though. In battle, Manaphy's stat total is the same as Victini's, and its stats are 100 base, similar to Mew. But unlike my issue with Victini, it makes sense because for the most part, it is portrayed as a newborn Pokemon, so its stats have yet to develop. Also, Manaphy has a signature move to it like its legendary brethren, Heart Swap, which could switch any stat increase or decrease with other Pokemon, though it doesn't learn this move until level 80, which asks this question in the movie: how can Manaphy learn this move if she can't learn until level 80? And this is not like a Manaphy that's been seen for a long time, this is a newborn. How? I guess we got an old Riolu learning a move before his time. Okay, he's here. But the thing is, when it comes to the manga, she didn't have much of a role in it, except in the manga version of Ranger and the Temple of the Sea. I didn't read this manga. So let's talk about its appearance in the movie version, although I already kind of disputed it a little bit. Manaphy in that movie looked at May as its mother after she saved the Manaphy egg. But aside from that, it didn't have much of a role except developing a bond with May, but Manaphy's final words with her was pretty emotional, further concluding their character arc in said movie, though I found it to be a little annoying. Then again, it's a newborn, so honestly. Manaphy, you are one awesome, cute, and emotional water type. And yet people want to bash this typing. I don't get it. Bonk! At number 12, we have the last member of the Eon duo, Latias. Why do I like Latias more than Latios, you ask? First off, I got her before I got Latios since I got Ruby when I was younger. Didn't build Sapphire, by the way. Second off, I find Latias to be cuter than Latios in terms of design. And finally, its pre-alpha sketch is hilarious. Black and white Kyurem, anyone? Tss. Now on to the other reasons. Latias, like its brother, is based off a jet plane and a dragon, but Latias is more focused on special defense instead of attack. But it still has the record for the highest speed of all dragon Pokemon with its older brother. Now in terms of the movie, Latias had a bit more of a role than her brother did, because she was with Ash and the gang longer, and even helped out Ash when they were being chased, and like Manaphy, had an emotional moment after losing her brother. But that was about it, and ignoring the crush on Ash, she didn't do much except for that. And by the way, no, I'm not counting the special with Brock's brother fighting a Latias, because it's not out in the US. Can't really say much more about it. I just like this Pokemon. So let's go on to number 11. At number 11 is the symbol of fire that burned down the brass tower, Entei. Being my second favorite of the legendary dogs, Entei must have a lot of good things about him if he's this high on the list, right? Yes. Being based off of a lion, he kind of reminds me of what Simba would look like if he merged with a Heatran.
Simba was a bitch, everyone knows that!
He may be a bitch, but he's one cool son of a bitch. In battle, Entei's stat total is the same as Raikou and its fellow legendaries. Its highest stat, however, is attack, which can reach a maximum of 361. One nifty thing about Entei's stat is that HP and attack both have 115 base stat, and yet Entei's HP stat is the highest stat of all fire types. No joke, Entei's HP stat is actually the highest for all fire. No joke. Though it has no signature move, it doesn't mean I can't put it above Pokemon that have sig moves. I like its design, it makes it look badass, making it my favorite design of the legendary dogs. My favorite thing about Entei, though, is in the Spell of the Unknown movie. Although it is an illusion, Entei appears to be a badass Pokemon. Hell, he nearly killed Charizard and Ash. That's friggin' strong. At last, we've reached the end of this countdown. Final 7 entries. Even though you know my number 1 entry, you might as well see who's left and my reasonings for the number 1 too. Alright, here we go. Went through 42 Pokemon, 7 to go. All I can say is thank you guys for sticking by me. Thanks for enjoying the list so far. And hope you'll enjoy my list in the future. And yeah, but that's one last thing to say. Obviously, I love these Pokemon a lot, and I consider them my favorite legendaries. Hell, even to the point I'd even put them on my own top 10 favorite Pokemon list had it not been for that restriction. But that's all I really need to say about that. But if you guys have an opinion that you think a certain legendary of yours should be higher or something, why don't you make your own list? Like, leave your own list in the comments or make a video response. I'm not trying to whore out or anything. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I love hearing your feedback. So with that, we've done. It's time to take care of the last 7 entries. Let's go! Oh lord, that thing is so adorable. To start off this entry, we're going to start off with my favorite of the Gen 5 legendaries, and the last one, Meloetta. It reminds me so much of a musical note in terms of designs, and I'm a huge musical fan in terms of, like, beat and shit. And it seems I'm not the only one. In the Unova region, many artists love Meloetta's music and dance so much it inspired many works of art, music, and songs. Hell yeah, this woman seems to be like the Beethoven of the Pokemon world. Like previous legendaries, Meloetta can change forms. In its Aria form, Meloetta's talent is singing, while her Pirouette form's talent is dancing. In the anime, Meloetta will have a story arc going on in Best Wishes 2, which is friggin' sweet. Oh yes. Plus its song is adorable, aka Relic Song. I also found it to be very cute, especially with her feelings towards Ash. Can't remember how that works. On to stats. In both of its forms, Meloetta's stat total is 600, but each form has different stats that are the highest. Aria form's highest stat is both of the special stats. Base, 128, while Pirouette's form highest stat is speed and attack. Same base stat total, giving her the highest speed and base stat total of all fighting type Pokemon. His typing is also original, being normal fighting, while some is usually mono fighting. So, yeah. In terms of its origins, Aria form resembles a typical dancer with a black headpiece acting like a headset microphone. Vocaloid anyone? Well, Pirouette form resembles a battle arena, while it also shares elements from Spanish flamenco dancers. So overall, Meloetta is easily my favorite Unova Pokemon for these reasons. Its design, its stats, its origin. It's so freaking awesome. Oh, yes. Number 6, we have the time-traveling Pokemon Celebi. Some have said she's overrated, but to be honest, I still love it, and hell, I like Pokemon that are labeled as overrated by even some Pokemon fans such as Arceus and, yes, Charizard. Now, what factors could I like about Celebi? A good movie appearance, a good character in the manga, a major role in the Mystery Dungeon games, and a cute design. So how do I begin? Let's start from stats. In battle, Celebi is not a good Pokemon to use. Its stats are 600 total with 100 each for base, and it has the most weaknesses, 7 in total. But when it comes to these other factors, it doesn't matter as much. In the Mystery Dungeon games, Shiny Celebi was Groval's love interest and a supporting protagonist in the story. She even has a Wi-Fi event, never released by the way, thanks a lot douchebags, dedicated to talking about Silver's backstory and his relationship with Giovanni. I'm not going to spoil that, but you'll have to wait and see or look up a YouTube video. In the 13th movie, never seen. In the manga, the main villain, the Mask of Ice, aka former gym leader, wanted Celebi to get back his 2 Laprases he lost years ago prior to the start of the Gold and Silver manga. Celebi was originally supposed to have an arc dedicated to her and the GS Ball, but it was scrapped and it leads to the major role in this list, her role in the 4th movie. In this movie, she took Professor Oak to the future with Ash and his friends and was kidnapped by the Iron Marauder to use for his own personal game, turning her into Dark Celebi, which creates... Jesus Christ! Oh my god, that's freaking creepy for kids. I find. Okay. Then after being freed, the movie's over, right? Oh my god! This is for kids, right? My god. Thankfully, though, she survived, but wow. That was pretty emotional, because at this point, we didn't really see a major Pokemon's death in an English dub. I mean, yeah, there was the uncut dub of the first movie, but still. So overall, Celebi is my second favorite Johto legendary, and my favorite grass legendary of all time. Hope the future looks bright, Celebi. At number 5 is my favorite alien Pokemon, Deoxys. Being the star of Destiny Deoxys, the last movie I saw on television, Deoxys holds an interesting space in my heart. I even committed to the whole rumor about meeting Deoxys in space in the Ruby version. It didn't work, but I still tried, damn it. In terms of origins, Deoxys is based off a DNA strand mixed with an alien. Neat. And people bitch about Gen 3? Come on, we got this guy for Luna's sake. In the movie, Deoxys didn't say much, but looking at him for the first time made me want to get him. I'm not kidding. He even fought a Rayquaza. A friggin' Rayquaza! Aside from that, though, my memories of it are a little lazy. So let's talk about stats. Sorry guys, I didn't care about the Deoxys manga. I know Team Rocket used it in the Fire Red Leaf Green section, but the whole petrification thing at the end pissed me off so much I forgot about it. Like the prior legendaries, Deoxys can change forms, and each form he has not only is focused on the stat of each form, but is also the highest stats, with the exception of defense form. But even then, defense form Deoxys makes it the strongest defense and special defense of all psychics. Now let's start with the other forms. Attack form Deoxys has the highest base stat and special attack of any Pokemon. Speed form Deoxys is the highest speed of any Pokemon, and regular Deoxys is just, well, base. Though it has the lowest HP stat of all legendary Pokemon, and you can catch it rather easily in Fire Red and Leaf Green's event, Deoxys is still awesome. Good job, Deoxys. Why can't all aliens be like him? All they want to do is probe us, and no one likes that. Oh, hell yeah! My favorite Johto legendary, Suicune. Being the brand that ceased the Tin Tower fire, and the mascot of Pokemon Crystal, Suicune has so many features in him that must make it this high on this list, right? So let's start it off. Despite being based as a fast Pokemon in the anime, or I should have said depicted, whatever, same thing, it has the lowest speed stat of all legendary beasts. Instead, his highest stat is both defenses, base 115, and its stat total is 580. Why do I like Suicune over Entei and Raikou, though? Well, because I do, goddammit! But in all seriousness, I like Suicune's design. It looks more manly than Entei's and Raikou's. I'm gonna get some hate comments from well. I also like the fact that I had a lot of cameos in the anime, such as in Johto, Sinnoh, and yes, even in Pokemon Forever. Plus is the only one of the dogs to actually friggin' appear. Not an illusion, not a robot, not in a special, you're looking at the real OG. Its role in Pokemon Forever, as I didn't point out before, was awesome! Nothing needs to be said. In terms of origins, Suicune is said to possibly be based off numerous creatures such as lions and mythical deities, mainly the Qilin or Kirin, though some may say he's based off of Chinese mythology. But who cares? It's so cool! God, I love this guy! Let's go on to number 3 before I go crazy! God, it's freezing. Where's the heat? Oh, yeah. At number 3 is my favorite Hoenn Pokemon of all time, Groudon. You probably guessed my number 2 then, but one step at a time. Groudon. Where do I begin with this guy? First off, he was the mascot for Pokemon Ruby, the only Gen 3 game I ever played. Or owned, for that matter. Second, I love his appearance. Look at that face. If you give him a dirty look, he'd be like, "You messing with me, bitch? I'll kick your ass." But I do need to correct something. On Kyogre's bit, I said Kyogre's markings appeared in Colosseum in Conquest. Yeah, I was wrong about that. It was Groudon's markings that were there. Sorry, guys. But Kyogre's symbol did appear in other spin-offs. But moving on. In his past, Groudon was responsible for creating the continents, which is kind of ironic considering Regigigas is pushing them. Being based off the Hebrew legend Behemoth. There we go with my misspelling again. Whatever. It is said that Groudon is the heaviest Pokemon in existence, with the exception of Missing Member. But then again, in terms of legit. Despite being ground type, Groudon can still learn moves from the fire type, such as Fire Blast, Lava Plume, and Eruption through leveling up. Man, I can see why Maxie wants this guy now. In battle, Groudon's stat total can reach a maximum of 670, with the highest being attack, which can reach a maximum of 438. That is beastly. In fact, it is the highest attack stat of all ground types. Though it didn't have a movie appearance, Fake Groudon doesn't count. It's so awesome that it doesn't need a movie appearance. Hell, in my trainer show, the final gym leader in it had a Groudon as his ace Pokemon. Without question, my favorite Gen 3 Pokemon. Enough said. You don't screw with Groudon. So, I think you guys know my number 2 then, so let's just get on with it. That's right. Oh boy. This Pokemon, this amazing Psychic Pokemon, is my number 1 Psychic type in Pokemon, and my favorite Psychic Legendary of all is at number 2 on this list. The genetically modified clone of Mew, and a Pokemon that can put Alakazam on the street, Mewtwo. That's right, I said it. Mewtwo's at number 2.
What? 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 What?
Oh yeah, but I think you want an explanation. Okay, I'm sure a lot of my old viewers are confused about this choice, especially my newer ones considering my streams. I said long ago, and even in those streams, that Mewtwo was my favorite legendary. The truth is, I kinda lied. And although your mind has been blown, and now you know my number 1 legend, I just want to say this. I love Mewtwo to death. The hours of searching through the Cerulean Cave, the constant blackouts because the Pokemon were strong, the puzzles, the rage I felt after failing to capture him, all remains in my memories. Even in the remakes of Gen 2, these feelings returned to me while I was on my way home from shopping with my family. Yeah, weird. There are so many things I could say about Mewtwo. His design, his backstory, his power, but I don't need to. I freaking love this Pokemon. So let's start it. After I saw Pokemon the first movie, I fell in love with Mewtwo, so much so that I even owned a trading card that came with the VHS tapes. Yeah, remember VHS? Okay, now the following may contain stupidity, because I am a Mewtwo fanboy, so bear with me. First off, its design. Out of the two, Mewtwo's design is my favorite design from the Generation 1 Psychic type. With that face, and the way his body looks, he looks like he's about to say, "You're no match for me." Now, some have said that Mewtwo can be labeled as overrated. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of agree, but to be honest, I find Alakazam more overrated than Mewtwo. Not because I like Mewtwo a lot, but because Alakazam was broken in the first game, and its family for that matter. It was uber strong in said first gen, and people always keep using it in their first generation games. And the fact that Game Freak has yet to fix these issues and make them weak as shit in the later games has also pissed me off, so that's why I labeled him as overrated. Back to the list. According to the Cinnabar Island documents, Mewtwo came from a pregnant Mew whose embryo was tampered with, presumably by Team Rocket, to alter its DNA. It was held and studied in the mansion by scientists, including Dr. Fushi from the movie, and Blaine, in which they performed horrific gene-splicing experiments on it, making it a ferocious and powerful Pokemon. It eventually broke free, destroyed the mansion, and retreated to the Cerulean Cave. Now on the stats. In battle, Mewtwo's stat total goes up to 680, with its highest stat being Special Attack, which can reach a maximum of 447, making it the strongest base stat total for all Psychic types. Man, those scientists made Mewtwo strong. Why couldn't they capture Stunfisk and do these experiments? Thus in Generation 5. Before this generation, Mewtwo didn't have a signature move, but in Unova's generation, they made Mewtwo the only Pokemon to learn Psy Strike. Took you long enough to give him a move. Okay. Now Now I'm gonna gush, okay? Okay, here we go. Oh man, wasn't it so awesome to see Mewtwo pull the Gyarados like in the first? Isn't it neat to teach it Aura Sphere and it goes, yeah! Oh, wasn't it awesome to see Mewtwo kick Mew's ass in the movie? It was like, screw you, bitch! Yeah, it's friggin' brilliant! Yeah! With that excitement out of the way, one question still remains. What could top it? What could top Mewtwo? Well, let's break my vocal cords and add the suspense, because it's time to catch a recap. Number 49, Dialga. Number 48, Fione. Number 47, Regirock. Number 46, Rotom. Number 45, Uxie. Number 44, Landorus. Number 43, Reshiram. Number 42, Victini. Number 41, Shaman. Number 40, Palkia. Number 39, Keldeo. Number 38, Tornadus. Number 37, Regigigas. Cobalion. Number 35, Azelf. Number 34, Kyogre. Number 33, Registeel. Number 32, Cresselia. Number 31, Heatran. Number 30, Raikou. Number 29, Arceus. Number 28, Kyurem. Number 27, Zapdos. Number 26, Latios. Number 25, Lugia. Number 24, Mesprit. Number 23, Giratina. Number 22, Regice. Number 21, Jirachi. Number 20, Rayquaza. Number 19, Thundurus. Number 18, Darkrai. Number 17, Mew. Number 16, Moltres. Number 15, Virizion. Number 14, Zekrom. Number 13, Manaphy. Number 12, Latias. Number 11, Entei. Number 10, Terrakion. Number 9, Genesect. Number 8, Ho-Oh. Number 7, Meloetta. Number 6, Celebi. Number 5, Deoxys. Number 4, Suicune. Number 3, Groudon. And number 2, Mewtwo. Who could top it? Let's finish this shit. Yeah, let's go. At last, we've reached the end of the 7-part list, where number 1, my favorite legendary. For this spot, I have to like it in the anime, like it in the manga, and it has to steal Logan's bid here, so what is it? Oh yes, Articuno. Surprised? That's good. Some of you wonder now, if a Gen 1 legendary is a number 1, why do you hate the generation? Because I feel like the gameplay hasn't grown well at all. It's short, it's boring, there isn't that much to do after the game is over, too. But that doesn't mean that generation's Pokemon were bad. Hell no. As such, I've been keeping this Pokemon under wraps for years. And now I can say it. Articuno is my favorite legendary Pokemon ever. But it's not just that. She's also my favorite Ice-type Pokemon, my second favorite flying Pokemon, this is better, and my favorite Pokemon of Gen 1. No Pokemon has topped this Pokemon since then. There have been some close attempts, but Articuno still comes out on top. Why do I like Articuno? Let's start with concept. Articuno's design is based off of an Arctic bird, or to be more specific, the Simurgh. Articuno is also a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. Though its stat total is the same as Zapdos and Moltres, Articuno's highest stat is Special Defense, which can reach a maximum of 383. Now you can say, oh, his stats are worse than Mewtwo's. Let me finish this entry. Anyways, Articuno can also learn moves from 10 of the 17 types, and if you include move tutors, Articuno has 8 stat moves. Some from leveling up, and some from move tutors. Friggin' sweet. I also love its typing, Flying Ice, which only gives her 4 weaknesses. But who cares? It's friggin' awesome! Nolan's Articuno is also friggin' sweet, and the fact it almost beat Charizard, a Pokemon that was a fire type, it showed how strong it was. In terms of the manga, I also love the adaptation of how they did the Seafoam Islands event. The fact that it didn't want to battle anyone made it on the same level as Latios in terms of honor. Also, take a look at this picture. I love this picture. For one, it's very cute with the look on her face, and it's also very hilarious. Okay. Lastly, I want to close this off with my final speech. I know people have criticized Generation 1 for its Pokemon's design and stats. People have criticized how unoriginal Pokemon from this generation is. This has led to flame wars from other people expressing their opinion. People voting a list that was against Generation as their biggest mistake is not a wise idea. What I wanted to do with this entry was to say this towards the people who play Pokemon and the people who bash other people for not liking a certain generation. I may not play Generation 1 as much anymore, but I can appreciate every Pokemon in this franchise. Each Pokemon has its goods and its bads. Without this first generation, we wouldn't have the great Pokemon we have today. And with this entry, Articuno has shown me that, yes, I have nostalgia towards this generation, but I can appreciate its age over the course of these generations. Every time I pick up a new generation game, I give the Pokemon a chance the best I can. Even Black and White 2, I gave them a chance. I bash about it for a joke, but my opinion on it is that I respect anyone who likes this game. I know we can't live in a world of everyone getting along, but with a video game franchise like this, is it really worth bitching about how this generation is better than another generation? Every generation has its purpose in Pokemon history. We wouldn't have these great Pokemon without the experiments of the old. So to end, when you talk about generations of the old, before you complain about how one generation is better than another, think about what your generation brought to the series, and then think about what the other person's generation brought to it. I'm the Mountie Chief, and Articuno is my favorite legendary of all time. Thank you all for watching this Top 49, and I will see you all later. Peace, guys. And that's it.